Hi, this is Ron Janish with andrewscourse.com. Now that I have the commercial part of our video part out of the way, I can go on to the real meat of what's going on here. What we're going to do is we're going to show you the difference between what we call the Part 1 professional course and the Part 2. And we're going to show you some of the new indicators in there. Give you as much detail as I can without boring you to tears. Okay. So first of all, in a part, the Part 1 course is really designed to teach you certain things and to make sure you understand them. And in addition to that, oh, well, anyway, let's get on with this. Let me show you. What we do is we divide uh, a move in the market into 4 sections very simply. And we show you how, as Andrew's taught, when you do an analysis, you start on the left, not on the right. So if you're going to do it looking for a buy here, for example, you'd be looking way over here or maybe back even further. Okay, give you an example. At this point in time here, the Part 1, which Matthew does and we discuss a lot on the web, triggered what we call section 2, and section 2 went up, 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 and so when it went up here, I labeled my chart with the number 5, and that usually tells me that there's a possibility of a buy signal in the next few days, or a sell signal, whatever's appropriate. If it's a high 5, it's a buy. If it's a low 5, it's a sell. So what happened was then price came down, gave a buy signal using the cookie cutter textbook stuff, and then up she went. Okay, that's Part 1. Now, in Part 2, one of the things we learn is what's called the MAPI, and that's something pretty much new, and that's Major Andrews Pivot Indicator. So what happens is over here, we take certain measurements and draw certain lines and say, yep, over here is probably a major pivot. Now, why does somebody want to know that? Well, if you're using Part 1, I'll give you an example. All the way as it goes down here, you know you're in phase 1. How do you know you're in phase 2? Well, when you get the Major Andrews Pivot Indicator in, you know you're in phase 2. Okay, or a section 2, whatever you want to call it. And then she goes up to where I get to label this a 5 here, and then she goes down for a possible signal, possible buying opportunity. Okay, so what this does is it helps me to identify when things are starting to move and move to this 5, or have a very high probability of doing that. And let's see what goes on during the week, or what went on during this week in the discussions here. For example, on Monday, I was saying, Matt, looks like BP and AUD may go into a stage 4 later this week, and I'll show you. And that's really, that meant a buy trigger. And in addition, I see stage 3 end, which is end possible, and that means stage, another buying opportunity in HG and the euro dollar. So in copper and the euro and Audi and the British pound, there was possibility of a buy signal using the standard Part 1 methodology. So let's see what happened after that, because remember, this was on 22nd. 22nd was Tuesday. Today is Friday. Okay, so here Matt writes back, last night Aussie needs to trigger to enter stage 4. Could occur this AM in the morning. Pound and euro at stage 3. Triggers for both could occur today overnight, tomorrow AM. So he knows he's getting close. Copper is stage 3. Triggers could occur today or overnight tomorrow. And what does he do? In the morning, he writes me, Aussie dollar index copper triggered. Yesterday evening, overnight, all doing well. Pound and euro may come very close to triggers, but not yet. Okay, so he's using a very mechanical methodology in approaching this. Okay, so let's take a look at actual charts and see what's going on here. Okay, this is an old chart of something happened a while back, but this here is the Australian dollar. And remember that as it was coming down, I was saying, hey, we're going down to a stage 4. Okay, and a stage 4 is the buying area, and sure enough, it reached it this morning. Okay, this is a daily chart we're looking at. Let's look at the British pound. No signal was reached here, but we did have an MAPI, which tells me that Matthew might have a buy signal very soon here. Okay. We can, with perfect 2020 hindsight, we can look back at the Canadian dollar and we can see back here we had an MAPI indicator, and then price went up, price came down and did its little thing, but we don't have a signal in that right now. Matthew was talking about how the euro might be going for a buy, but he hadn't gotten it yet, and sure enough, he doesn't have a buy, and we can see the euro is kind of strong today. On the other hand, if we look at the dollar index, which is kind of the euro, we had our MAPI indicator up here, our major indicator. So the start of phase 2, what Matthew has is phase 2. Then it goes up for phase 3. And remember, Matthew said he had a short in here. So it's down we go time. Okay. And let's see what else. He also mentioned copper. Okay, here's your copper. So here's your MAPI. Okay. Here we go up. And here, down here, he had his buy, and now this is where he's at right now. Okay, I want to show you a few other things that weren't mentioned in those emails. Let's look at coffee. Now, here's coffee. Okay, so you had your MAPI indicator here, and it's going up. So when after price goes up here, and I look at the market pattern, and I say, yep, I can write a 5 over here. If I write the 5, at that point I know to start looking for what we call stage 4, which gives us the buying opportunity in this. Okay? Simple as that. Now I'm going to show you a nifty new little trick. This is the what is this? The Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay. Now you see this rectangle up here? In this area here is where I'm watching for a potential MAPI signal. So that's one of the fun things I do now. That's absolutely brand new. For in future time, I can draw the rectangle here. Let's call this a golden box. And price goes in, does its proper thing, and reverses. Then we have a really good probability of a reversal in this area here. Okay, and this is out into the future. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so remember we have part 1, which is this really simple mechanical thing. And it takes a while to learn, and it takes a while to get accustomed to it. Once you learn part 1, with the profits you make in part 1, you can take part 2 if you want. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the Aussie. And so with part 2, though, is you're going to learn some new entry triggers. Okay, and I think that's important. You'll learn the standard entry signal triggers that Matthew had in here in the Australian dollar, and you'll also learn some other entry triggers that I like to look for if I'm only trading part 2. Okay, so part 2, the big thing on part 2 is it gives me the know-how about this here, the major Andrews pivot indicator. And this simply tells me there's a real high probability that we have a major pivot here, and that it's going to be going for a while. So that's what it is. Anyway, Ron Janisch from andrewscourse.com signing off. Oh, wait a minute. One thing. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. One little thing here. If you'd like to take the Pro Course Part 1, no problem. Right now, it's included in the price of the expanded course. Okay, so you take the regular course, the advanced course, and then you take the expanded course. Or if you just order the expanded course, you can probably get a deal on the other part. Anyway, and once you've taken the expanded course, you're immediately eligible to go into the Part 1 thing. And even if you don't take the expanded course, you just take the regular course, what happens is you'll be getting these emails. Very often we send these out direct rather than through the Yahoo group. And the Precision Trader is a Yahoo group. And if I send it out direct to you, you get it in your email right away. It's sent as a BCC. And whereas through the Yahoo group, it can take a while. And that while may be a day or two, which is kind of late. Okay, so I thank you for your time. Bye.